Awesome. Daniel and I are really excited to be here, and we're going to be talking to you about building powerful marketing apps today. And if you have any questions during our talk, we'd really love for you to add some questions to the live Q&A in the mobile app using the code SFO. So before we dive in, I'll give you a little overview of the talk. First, I'm going to start with some insights on what we know about our merchants and how they look at marketing. And then Daniel's going to talk about what we've done using that insight so far. And then he's going to talk about where we're going as a platform and some of the developer tools that we're launching today, and also highlight the opportunity for all of you to build more powerful marketing apps on our platform. So let's get started with a big question. Why is Shopify investing in marketing app partners? Well, our platform's focus has always been on making the important things easy for our merchants. And that's been with us since the start. When Toby first started the company, we were really focused on making it easy to start stores online. And since then, we've made it easier to take payments online. We've also simplified how you manage shipping. And this year, we really want to focus on making marketing easier. And the reason for that is we've had the realization that marketing is critical to starting or growing any business. And as you've heard throughout the day, marketing has definitely been very much top of mind to our merchants. In our annual survey, we've seen that it's the biggest obstacle to starting a business. And we've also seen that year over year, for any new merchant or existing merchant, it's also the biggest challenge they anticipate. And so we asked another follow-up question, which is, what is so hard about marketing? We did some research to uncover the reasons why. And what we learned was that a lot of people's challenges around marketing actually map really closely to this model of build, measure, and learn, which you may have come across in the lean startup world. When it comes to building marketing campaigns, it's not a very straightforward process. There's so many steps and lots of tools that people have to switch between in order to get things done. So it's very time-consuming right now. When it comes to actually measuring the impact of time, money, and effort that was put into a marketing campaign, that's also really tough for merchants to measure. Related to that, it's really hard to know how to be smart about your next marketing campaign. For existing merchants, it's really hard to know what worked well and what didn't work well in the past, so they can build upon what they've done and be smarter with that next marketing campaign. For new merchants, it's also really hard to learn where to get started. There's so many options when it comes to marketing, and they could really use some guidance on narrowing down what to start with. So let's take a deep dive into a merchant's day. This is Victor. And his experience is pretty common amongst merchants that we met. And he's about 6 months into starting his business. He's selling candles online and in his friend's retail store. And this is what his day typically consists of. He spends a lot of time perfecting his product line, figuring out the packaging, really making sure it's correct to his brand. He's also spending some time figuring out shipping logistics and also helping out at his friend's retail store, where he's taken a few shifts to help out. So as you can imagine, his day's pretty busy, and it doesn't leave a lot of time for him to get marketing done. Luckily for him, he's seen that from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the evening, the engagement on his social media channels has been pretty good, and it's translated to some good traffic on his store. Unfortunately, though, he looks after his daughter from 5 to 8, and really that means that most nights he only works on his business from 8 o'clock onwards. So what that means for him is he has 1 hour to do marketing when it's most effective for his business. And the trouble is that when he actually gets down to doing the marketing, he spends a lot of time switching between different tools to get the right posts and the right campaigns put together for his business. And he's not actually able to get that much done during this hour. So Victor launched a photo campaign last night where he shared a photo of a new candle he's launching next week. And he shared it on Facebook and Instagram. And today he's seeing quite a bit of traffic come to his online store, which is great. The thing is, though, he's not sure which of those two channels actually drove the traffic. And usually he'll try to create 2 different discount codes to track sales for each of those channels, but that's really only helpful when he's running a discount or a sale. But last night he shared a photo which was really intended to build awareness and interest in his product line. So in this case, he wasn't able to figure out which of these 2 channels was actually working better for him. Related to that, he's really not sure where to spend his ad dollars. He's tried a few things with Instagram, Facebook, and Google AdWords, but he's kind of strapped for money right now because he's launching a new candle line and put a lot of money into inventory. So he's only looking to spend about $100 on marketing. And he's heard of people spending thousands of dollars and still not really sure of what the results were in those cases. So what he's trying to figure out is, where do I put that $100 to get the most value for my money at this point in my business? So he could really use some more insight and guidance on that. So Victor's experience, as I mentioned, is not very unique to him. It's quite common. And what we're here to do today, Daniel and I, is we're here to ask you to help us with building on this platform that we've created to build more powerful marketing apps to help our merchants in all 3 of these areas. And what we'd really like to do is help merchants become more confident with marketing and build better habits around marketing through the usage of these apps that you're going to be creating. So now I'm going to hand over to Daniel, and he's going to tell you more about what we've done with that insight in this framework, where we're going as a platform and some of the developer tools that we're making available to you, and where we need your help the most, and where there's that big opportunity for all of you to build more powerful marketing apps. Thanks.
Great. So what I'm going to try and talk you through a little bit today is how we think about marketing as a system in Shopify, and as a product manager leading the merchant marketing team. So apps are an integral part of marketing with Shopify. 50% of our merchants will install a marketing app. And something we discovered, if they are tracking appropriately with their marketing app, they can be 10 times more successful than the merchants that don't. So I find this model that Jen presented to you very helpful. It's how we plan our product, it's how we build our tools, how we analyze the problem space. And it's a good way of thinking about it, but it's also one I can actually relate to personally. So that's me with a little more facial hair and a different haircut. But I have my own store too, in addition to my day job here as a product manager at Shopify. I run a store called Bull and Cleaver. So I sell beef jerky, South African type of beef jerky called biltong, and I've sold about 8,000 pounds in the last year in 199 cities across the US. So what does this flow look like for me personally? You know, when it comes to building campaigns, I use apps. I use Kit for my Facebook ads, Conversio for my email and retention, and MailChimp for my email marketing. But when it actually comes to measuring it, despite working at Shopify and knowing all these things, it's actually really hard, far harder than it should be. And early on, I actually had to build my own script to analyze my store and see where traffic was coming from. And when it comes to learning and analyzing things, you just don't get around to it. If you don't have good data, it's hard to figure out what's next. And think about this as a cycle, right? If I've done something, I want to learn how to do it. But what's very important is when we have a strong cycle here, we can also help those that haven't started yet learn how to do marketing. So let me tell you a little bit about that. And the thing is, the cycle I just took you through, it's not something that just one merchant uses. As I said, 50% of our merchants have a marketing app, and this is their world. And this applies to all of them. So let me talk you through a little bit on what we've been doing to solve this problem. So about 6 months ago, we called up some of our top marketing app partners, and we said, how can we solve this problem? We know merchants are using your app, and what can we do together to make the cycle far better? So looking at this cycle again, there's two big areas we invested in. One, making it easier to measure, and two, easier to build campaigns. We're going to start with measurement. And measurement is quite clear what the value is to merchants. They can track what they do. But there's an important angle for app developers. That is, we know people are installing your app. We know they're enjoying it. And they sometimes churn because they don't know when that app bill comes in every month, they can't put together what your app did. What we're doing here, measurement for app developers, is about giving you credit for what you're already doing. So we looked at this a couple ways, and I'm going to talk you through how we brought this to life. So the first one is this idea called conversion details. So not as many people as I'd like know about this area, but on every order you can basically see an answer for why this person bought from you. And almost as long as Shopify's been around, it's looked like that on the left, where it shows you the bare bones information, but really it's very technical and it's abstract for people that don't understand marketing. So we made a tiny change. We just changed the wording. We explained it to people in a little simpler way. And we were blown away by the feedback that we received from people. Some people said this was the most important thing on the page, which baffled us because we thought nobody had ever seen this. They thought this was a new feature that they were thrilled about. And all we were doing is just explaining the data they already had in a way that they can understand. So what we did next is we tried to see how can we better explain these things with more context. So we started exploring this marketing events API that you heard about from Atlee earlier today. So there's lots of types of marketing, and the advantage is we can categorize them and we can add a lot more context to them. So when we add context to traffic, we can do very simple things for our merchants. Like on home, I no longer have to be parsing UTM parameters with a string that's 50 characters long. I can tell you it's an email newsletter. I can pull up your Facebook ad. And that's valuable to merchants, but also, from an app developer perspective, there's no doubt the value that you create. This trickles down from when they start getting traffic, so the minute they hear that ka-ching and they look on their phone, they'll be able to see exactly where that order came from. And we found this loop has been incredibly valuable for merchants in how we've already implemented it. And we've really heard from merchants there's this hunger to give more and more of this data. So let me show you a little bit on how this marketing event stuff works. It's really quite simple. So if I'm creating Facebook ads, I would indicate this is the social channel, it is the facebook.com domain, and whether it's paid, and I can add some details on the type of ad. What this looks like is you posting a marketing event with these variables, and you'll attach the UTM parameters from it, and that's all you need to do for us to be able to create a really rich experience in Shopify. So we've talked a little bit about tracking, and one of the things that has caused a lot of confusion is this problem of attribution. So I'll use an example from my store. So I had this really cool experience where somebody posted on my Facebook page about how excited she was to try my product. She said she's been watching and following our store for so long, and she finally bit the bullet and said, oh my God, I can't wait to try it. And then if you actually look in Shopify, it's quite disappointing. It was quite underwhelming. It said, I don't know. There's no indication on how excited and engaged she was when she found my product. And there's a reason for that. So an interesting thing about orders, on average, the average order has about 4 visits. And the problem is we need to figure out how to explain how the order came about. So on a typical order, you might see someone first finds you via Google. They might tell their friend about your site and come back and say, oh, I found this great beef jerky. I want to take a look at it. They might sign up for my email newsletter. Then a couple days later, I send them my weekly newsletter. They open it, but now's not the right time. But then, I've got Kit set up on my store. It's doing retargeting for me. And finally, when the time is right, she's like, oh, all right, I'll buy that from you. That ad looks really good. I can't wait. But this is all interesting. This is all valuable, but how does this actually pan out? So in the old world, Shopify would say, that is why she bought. MailChimp might say, that is why you bought. And Kit would say, this is why you bought. And the problem is, this is a bad merchant experience because a merchant doesn't have an answer, and also they don't know who to trust. So what we're starting to do in the next couple of weeks is we're going to start expanding this. So coming back to that order page, looking at conversion box, what we're going to do is we're going to try and summarize the full story. So we're going to show you how many orders they've had. We're going to show you how many sessions they've had over what time period. And we're going to let them know what made them buy. But not only that, we're going to also start to show different attribution models on an order. So you can see how someone first found you, what made them pull the trigger. And with time, we can also create a far richer experience around every app and every session. So there's far more we can do here. This is a great merchant experience. It's a great experience for an app developer, and it makes Shopify a better platform for everyone. So in terms of the way this attributions work, it actually comes for free with you using marketing events. So when you're using marketing events, quite simply, you can query your marketing events, and we'll give you the orders and the totals. And there's two things that can happen from this. One, we can both work from the same data to reconcile how we talk about attribution. And if you have an app that doesn't have analytics or doesn't show the results of it, hopefully this is going to allow you to get that started sooner. Okay, so taking a step back, we were talking about measurement there, and there's a lot of interesting stuff. But now I want to jump a bit more into talking about how we can help people build campaigns. So this is fairly obvious. I mean, you guys already are helping people build campaigns. And it's clear why merchants need to do it. That's why they install your apps. But there's an opportunity here where we can get on the same side of the table where my goal is to make merchants successful as a product manager at Shopify. I want to see how many merchants I can get a sale every week. And to do that, I need apps that can build campaigns for merchants. So integrating and working together on how we build campaigns will allow us to help you increase the discovery of your app. So let's get into it. There's a couple features here where we've experimented with this over the last couple of months, and I'll give you an early look at some investments we're making in this area so that you can start planning and thinking about what we see as valuable. So let's first talk about the apps menu. So for almost as long as Shopify has been around, there's been this thing that some people have infamously called the ... menu or the ellipsis menu. Neither of them too flattering. And it's funny because it's some of the most valuable real estate in Shopify. If I told you as an app developer, you could put a link in the admin, you would say, where can I do this? And this has been around for 10 years. And to be quite frank, the user experience within there has not been great. So we started to think about how can we start to solve this problem. So we started in a small way. Merchants weren't finding the features we were building in here. And quite revolutionary, instead of an ellipsis, we called it apps. Not that groundbreaking, but in our own tests, in our own apps, we saw a 10% absolute increase in the amount of marketing that our merchants were doing. And there's more. So with the new Polaris design, we're building app actions, the app links, into the function of the page. And we're also adding categorization to these as part of the intelligence that we're adding in here. So there's two very interesting things about this. One, we're going to start categorizing marketing apps and the types of things they can do. When we know what an app can do, we can give a better recommendation. The second thing is, this is an opportunity This is a surface where we can recommend things to merchants. And if you want to ask me a very complicated question on, Daniel, how do you sort this? I could alphabetically sort it. I could do it by install numbers. Or, if you're using the Marketing Events API, I can sort it by traffic. I think you can guess how we're going to sort it. So, if you have an app that has great functionality and is integrated to Shopify, you're going to have more opportunities for visibility. You can see this in Home, for example. So, in November of last year, we experimented around Black Friday, one of the most important times of the year, where we kind of encourage merchants to create a promotion. Pretty simple, create a discount, and we were blown away by the amount of merchants that engage with it. But that's only one part of it, again, like giving someone an idea to start a campaign, and them not knowing what to do next doesn't help us much. So we started building these app links into home cards. So we could take that discount code, and I knew which apps can promote it, and the big benefit for a merchant, in 1 or 2 clicks, they can get that campaign up and running. So this is a pattern that we're starting to explore, and it's a thing we're investing heavily in. And we need apps. We need good apps. We need good user experience there. So you may not have seen this before, this app links area in the admin, but over time, under a beta right now, for everyone using our Marketing Events API, or the beta partners with our Marketing Events API, there's a simple checkbox there that mark this as this is a marketing action, and you can categorize it so we know exactly what your app can do. It's quite simple. And you can already look at app links in the admin today and start thinking about the user experience you can create there. So the third part I want to talk about, we talked about app links and where we're displaying them. I want to talk a little bit about the user experience we are creating around them. So those app links I mentioned, they're showing up in many parts of Shopify, in home, products, orders, customers. And the experience has always been quite simple. But there's a chicken and egg problem of we need to improve the experience of those apps as well. So I'm going to show you a couple of cool things we've been working on internally and with some third-party partners. So if you look here, this is on the product page. I can just pull up and share on Facebook right in the context of the product page. You may have seen this. This is available on any store with an online store today. And this is something our team built. But you can also see here how, in the case of Kit, I can page Kit from right in the admin. Kit's going to message me and get my ad campaign up and running. Or if you're using the buy button, I can get my embed code, which has already stored my styling options, and copy it, embed it in a blog, or share it with an affiliate I'm working with. Or, to look at a third-party example, let's look at MailChimp. So I can take all my product data, MailChimp's going to put that in a great email template ready to go. In 2 or 3 clicks, I can get my campaign up and running. Less work, going to get a campaign rolling faster. So this, again, it's coming back to that app links area that you might not have seen before in your partner dashboard. But over time, if you're using the EA SDK and if you're using Polaris, you're going to be able to embed the experience right there in the admin. So let's take a step back again. Let's go through that cycle: build, measure, learn. In my own store, if I'm starting a campaign, I draft up this promotion I want to create. I'm getting ready to send it. MailChimp's doing a great thing where they're already adding tracking to my campaign. And as I'm about to press that big red button and have my campaign go out, MailChimp is firing up my marketing events. So if this is my Canada Day promotion, as soon as it starts getting traffic on home, I can see how much money it's making me. Ta-da, just like that. And again, when that order comes in, there's no questions for me. It's very simple, and I can analyze it easily. So in summary, let's talk about the opportunity here. So if you're an app driving traffic for merchants, you need to be using Marketing Events API, and it's available to you today. What this does for you It's going to give you credit for the traffic you're already driving. And I want you to also think about app links, because that's going to be how you're going to get discovered in the admin and in Shopify. Those marketing events that you put forward to us are going to allow us to render you in home and reports so people see the value of what you're doing. It's going to give you opportunities for promotion in the App Store and home. Again, there's many ways I could pick good marketing apps. The way I like to do it most is on results. If you're using the Marketing Events API, we can see what apps are best for which problems. And the second thing is app links. Start thinking about the user experience you want to create here. Talk to your dev relations contact and think about what you can build here. And we'd love to work closely with you on that over the next couple of months. One more thing I'll leave with you. Gaps we have in our app platform for marketing right now. Google and Facebook ads, we need bigger tools for more use cases for more merchants. If you're building those power tools for merchants of different sizes on Facebook and Google, or if you're a partner doing marketing for people, if they don't see the results in the admin, your app is clearly just going to be less useful. The second thing, if you have novel ways of helping people with interesting products get out there in the world, we want to see it. The third one being loyalty. Merchants always want a way to get their customers to buy a second time or to refer new people. So I'm really excited about those. So in summary, our biggest investment this year on my team is in marketing, because I know that merchants are going to need marketing apps to do this. And if we help them on that cycle, building better campaigns, making it easier to track, I know they're going to be more successful. So I want to be clear here. My investment here needs to be in you guys. Thank you very much. So we have not too much time for questions, but we'll try and take a couple.
So the first one is, if we are triggering a message through something like MailChimp, how do we ensure that our app is attributed instead of or in addition to MailChimp?
So in the case of a MailChimp campaign, they are submitting the marketing events. So it depends on the app that is, the main point is the URL and the UTM parameters. So if you are passing on that URL to MailChimp, as long as you encode it in there, you can register the marketing event.
Cool. Thanks. The next question is, what's the attribution window? Why that time frame?
So the attribution window we're looking at right now is a 30-day attribution window. So the important thing about that is we want the attribution window to be an accurate picture of the consideration window of a customer. That being said, we collect all the data, and we do have the ability to show different views, which we may explore over time.
The third one is kind of a UX question, so maybe I'll take it.
Yeah, go for it.
It's, how are you going to help merchants interpret the data and understand what to do? Feel free to add on to this. So yeah, that's a really good question. We're actually thinking a lot about that, because as we build this wealth of data, we really want to make sure that we're teaching merchants kind of where to focus and teaching them the basics in the case of newer merchants, and then also providing really, I guess, useful insights at the end of the day for more experienced merchants that have more data. Mm-hmm.
Sounds right.
Cool. Do we have any audience questions as well over here? I think we have a microphone coming around.
Is it me? Yeah.
Yep.
We'll take yours after. Go ahead.
So how about the in-store merchandising tools? I mean, you're tracking conversions. Many of them are coming from like recommendation apps or upsell, cross-sell, things like that. How should we go into that dashboard?
Is the question there, how do you correlate interactions in a retail store with an online
Yes.
store?
Yeah, so because we are kind of merchandising or changing the way people discover products, but it is in the store. but it has to be attributed to the apps that are doing that.
Yep, that's a good question. So for the moment, the marketing events API works off traffic on the online store that's directly attributable. Though, especially as Shopify thinks about multi-channels, this isn't the first time we thought of that, and that's definitely something we're going to be exploring later this year as well.
So should we start using a UTM code to trick your system for now?
If you're driving any traffic,
We are driving in-store traffic. It's not coming from outside.
if there's a UTM link that you can attach to it, then you should use it.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that's. So I think that's all the time we have for questions right now. But tomorrow we have office hours for the full day tomorrow. If you'd like to talk to our engineering lead and myself. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.